You may have noticed that there is a bit of desperation in the air when it comes to the situation around Brexit, especially from the Brexiteers who seem to be getting, well, quite antsy of lately. Not only is there precious Brexit protocol bill, which essentially could, well, completely torpedo any deal going on currently over the Northern Ireland Protocol, but also we have the new Brexit Freedoms Bill, as it's been recalled by the Brexiteers, to get rid of thousands of pieces of legislation. Both of those two things have hit a massive roadblock recently, potentially even stopping them going through Parliament. And in some cases, Rishi Sunak going, well, and the Northern Ireland bill that could essentially scupper that is potentially maybe being put on hold for the time being. The EU reform bill, aka the new Brexit Freedoms Bill, as the Brexiteers keep on calling it now, that is being completely amended to heck by opposition parties. It's certainly going to cause a lot of consternation in the House of Lords as well. And for once, you've actually got businesses speaking out saying, look, we do not want these regulatory changes. Heck, you've even just got a few weeks ago now the whole new UK checkmark that was delayed yet again. Still sticking with the European checkmark because guess what? Companies want to keep those European standards. What have we been saying since 2016? No matter how much we seem to say it, it's slowly sinking in. But there are some people, especially the Brexiteers, that still don't seem to get it. But today we're going to have a talk about one thing that Michael Gove said and got a bit of a, shall we say, slap on the wrist by one of our watchdogs who keeps an eye, shall we say, to at least try and keep our politicians honest, especially when they're putting out information to the public. So I'm going to have a look at see how Michael Gove got a bit of a hand slap recently over putting out a tweet saying that all these new trade deals had resulted in over 800 billion pounds of post-Brexit trade. So let's see what happened here. But before we do go dive into this article, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below there are links to my Patreon page and a notification link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me coffee. And as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel that way. And of course, there is the Pony Club as well down below, as well as the YouTube thank you button. You can also help to support the channel that way as well. So on we go. Like I say, covering this story in The Guardian, with the title of Watchdog Reprimands Tories over £800 billion post-Brexit trade deal claim. The official statistics watchdog has reprimanded the Conservatives for claiming that the UK has secured £800 billion in new free trade deals. Remember that, new free trade deals. That was what they were specifically claiming, that the UK has made secured £800 billion in the new free trade deals. Because, like I say, the Brexiteers are getting pretty nervous now. Like I say, you've seen all the polls. We've talked about them very recently. Public opinion is turning very, very quickly against Brexit because a lot of people are realizing, hold on, we didn't have these shortages, strikes, all this stuff when we're in the EU. And yet the Conservatives and specifically the Brexiteers made big promises that, oh, all these problems would be solved when we leave the EU. Don't worry, guys, problem solved. But as we always said back then, the EU was not the cause of the UK's problems. It never really was. But anyway, back to it. It was saying that the figure included deals rolled over from before Brexit. So the UK Statistics Authority said that it had written to the Tories about the infographic shared last month by Michael Gove, among others, also warning that the party should provide sources for figures in the future. The Scottish National Party's trade spokesman, Drew Hendry, wrote to the UKAS also about Gove's use of the Tory infographic, which said, "We have secured new free trade deals worth with over 70 countries since 2016 that's worth over £800 billion of new free trade." In response, the UK's chair, Sir Robert Coate, wrote that said that while with no citation or source was provided, he assumed that the 800 billion total came from the £559 billion with net trade with EU countries in 2021, plus the £245 billion in the post-2016 deals with the 71 non-EU nations, some of which had been rolled over as a pre-Brexit deals with the wider EU. Under the principles of the intelligence transparency, we would expect the infographic to include a source for the figure so that the public can actually verify the numbers and understand the definitions used to put the data into context, he wrote. More specifically, in this case, it is misleading to describe the £800 billion figure with a measure of new global trade resulting from the recent deals. That would imply that there had been no trade with these countries before the recent deals, and of course that there would be none now without them, which is of course what they were implying, because again they want to at least make Brexit look like it has been somewhat of a success. And like I say, there has really been no good news story all this year to share about Brexit. You've had, of course, the start of this year, Jacob Rees-Mogg in the position as the Minister for Brexit Opportunities. But of course, it became so embarrassing when it came to sort of Rishi Sunak taking over that ministerial role was just completely gotten rid of and shuffled into another department, because that's how embarrassing it was that it was there, because there were no Brexit opportunities to shout about. But anyway, they also continued. He also said, we have spoken with the Conservative Party and asked for any future communication link to include a reference to the sources of the statistics. You've also requested the party be more transparent about the context and assumptions that have been made to construct such statements and infographics. Henry said that Grove Street should have been, quote, spread misleading and completely inaccurate statistics on social media and should correct the record. Brexit has and will continue to be an unmitigated disaster for households and business across these islands, including Scottish exports, by a staggering £2.2 billion in the last year alone. Ultimately, though, what Brexit has shown is how threadbare the case for the continued Westminster control has become. Scotland needs an alternative, and the alternative is independence within the European Union. Of course, again, would so say the EU accept an independent Scotland? That, an independent Scotland is going to have massive problems. We've discussed this in the past. A lot that the Scottish nationals do not want to seem to be discussed, especially the economic one, especially when you've got the World Bank saying how the problems would be for an independent Scotland would be financially, and also NatWest, who wrote one back in 2015. Those problems have not changed. But there you go. When asked about the letter, the Conservative Party spokesman had this to say, that since Brexit, of course, the UK has signed deals with 71 countries plus the EU, accounting for over £800 billion of trade last year. So at least you can see they're not claiming it's new free trade deals. But again, it's still sort of nothing when we can actually see we've had, damage to our trade continually over this time period. We've seen, of course, the UK has slipped from one of out of Germany's top 10 trading partners. That is going to have a significant knock-on effect for our economy. And if the Brexiteers and the Conservatives are serious with going ahead with this Brexit Freedoms Bill, or again, as its proper name is, the EU Law Reform and Revocation Bill, then that's going to make it even harder for companies to trade with Europe, because you're now saying, well, woo, gone are all these EU regulations. Go crazy, guys. Remember, a big part of that bill now leaves companies themselves to self-regulate. And as history has shown, businesses don't really do a good job of self-regulating. So, yeah, certainly big problems there, but at least I'm glad to see that, again, we still do have institutions that are at least willing to, slap the old wrist of Michael Gove for spreading, well, misaccurate and misleading information, which again is good. So, as always, guys, like I say, thank you very much for watching. Please do remember to hit that like and share button. Like I say, it does help out the channel massively. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and other links as well. You can help support the channel that way. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.